And this week in trending this week, first up, so as we know, the fires have ravaged Maui. And normally we don't talk about quote unquote, natural disasters because it's not really, I mean, like, yeah, it's horrible the stuff that's going on, but I'm not a weatherman. There's not really any spin I'm going to put on it. I mean, yeah, it's a horrible thing. People lost their lives, people lost their homes, their businesses, their livelihoods, whatever. Yeah, it's a horrible thing. But this is a little weird, and we're going to highlight why. So Maui's obviously been torched by fires. You've had just acres of land destroyed, probably to the point where it's going to cost more than it's worth to rebuild it, from like a residential perspective. And, we've got over 100 people now confirmed dead. People are fleeing the island, and that's normal. Or not normal. I mean, that's horrible, obviously. But here's where it gets a little weird. So Maui, for the longest time, the locals on Maui, it's basically split. You've got super rich people on one side, and then you've got, the peons, the poor men south of Richmond on the other side of Maui, right? And for the longest time, there has been a big struggle with people trying to buy the locals and the natives out of their land in Maui, with big real estate developers trying to come in, kick them out, put up resorts, put up condos, mansions, you name it. That's been the big deal. But the people of Maui have been fighting back. Now, here's where it gets a little bit goofy. Gets a little goofy here, okay? So the only part of this island that's been destroyed has been the part that was, up in the air that they were fighting over for real estate rights to. You have plenty of celebrities that live on this island. Oprah, Jeff Bezos, Will Smith, billion-dollar resorts. All of those were relatively unscathed. But it was almost exclusively the land that's being disputed that was scorched by this fire. And then we come to find out that Blackstone, which is the former parent company of BlackRock, bought a resort in January of 2023. That's this year, for those of you that don't have a calendar, for $1.1 billion. Now, if you think that was the only real estate interest Blackstone had and they were just going to leave it at that, I got some super cheap beachfront property to sell you. You know what I mean? And then we find out after that. So the folks in Maui, so they're already saying, hey, we're worried that these companies are going to come in and buy up all this land after it's been burned down. Then we learn after that, and we didn't actually, I had to dig for this stuff because a lot of this stuff was buried. Now it's coming out that the insurance companies on the island, for people that lost their homes and people that lost their businesses, are saying, yeah, no, we're not going to pay you out. We're going to deny the claim. So these people are going to have two choices. And remind you, these are working class people, the absolute enemy of the mainstream left in America. These are working class people. These aren't people with millions of dollars at their disposal. So they're going to have two options. They can either spend probably more money than the property's worth fighting in court to try to get the insurance company just to pay out, or they can settle. And they can sell it to either the government or a real estate developer for pennies on the dollar. And that right after the insurance companies we started to get reports of insurance companies denying claims. The government came in and offered to buy the land up. Well, what do you think the government's going to do with it? I don't know. We could look into the donations for Josh Green, the governor of Hawaii, who guess Mia, take one guess, because there's a website called followthemoney.org. Take one guess at what the number one category, the number one donation sector was of all the businesses out there for Josh Green, the governor of Hawaii. Guess what? What industry donated more money to Josh Green's governor campaign than any other? Take a guess. Which one?
I mean, I don't really understand.
Real estate and insurance. Real estate and insurance. So while the insurance company's denying claims and real estate investors are trying to buy up the land that's been scorched, we learned that the governor has received more money from real estate and insurance than any other sector in the world, or in the country. Not the country, but in any other industry out there, right? You can look it up for yourself. It's public information. So we got the government, so we got insurance companies saying we're not going to cover it. The government coming in saying, hey, we'll buy this for super cheap from you guys. And then we find out that, real estate and insurance donated more money to Josh Green's governor campaign than any other industry. Why? Could it be that they're trying to buy this land? It's a massive conspiracy? Maybe. I'm not saying they started the fire. They could have. But to quote Rahm Emanuel, one of Obama's former goons, never let a good crisis go to waste. This guy's gotten money from insurance, and he's gotten money from real estate backing him. So the insurance company denies the claim. The government swoops in and says, hey, we're going to help you out here. We're going to buy this land from you for nothing. Okay, we'll buy this land from you. Just get you on your way. Get you some money in your pocket. You go start over on the mainland, okay? Then he turns around and sells that to who? Oh, his top donors in real estate. And they build up, condos and resorts and God knows what else. And they cash out on it. This is corruption. They very well. I'm not accusing anyone of doing anything, remember? We're just connecting the dots together. But think about it for a second. This is the type of Ponzi scheme bullshit that people are sick of in politics. This is why people write songs like Rich Men North of Richmond, because we're being absolutely trampled on by an elite class. There is 100% two tiers of citizen in this country. There's the elites, and then there's us, right? That's all there is to it. They asked Joe Biden, how do you feel about this? What do you have to say to the people in Maui? Do you want to know what Joe Biden said? No comment. That was Joe Biden's comment on the fires that have torched the entire island in Maui. Now,
there's people that are dying.
Quite literally. Now, so right after that, though, they did announce the super generous one-time payment of $700 per household to the people who were affected. Now, when will they get it? Well, eventually. $700. Do you know what $700 gets you in Maui? A cup of coffee. I'm slightly exaggerating, but not by much. It's ridiculous. $700. That's what they're giving them. You know what they did the day after they announced the $700 payment plan? They sent $200 million to Ukraine. So I think that's the biggest mistake that the people of Maui made in this entire thing, was not being born in Ukraine. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.